Okay, so like I'm saying, in today's lesson, we'll look at how to do the postings from the day books to the ledgers. But before that, let's quickly appreciate the following. Now, there's a relationship between the day books and the ledgers because, as a matter of fact, when you are done preparing your day books, the next thing is for you to post them to the ledgers. So now let's familiarize ourselves with the ledgers in which we are going to post these entries in the day books. So a quick review of the ledgers. We said we have five ledgers. The first one is the sales ledger, and that ledger keeps account of debtors, while the purchases ledger keeps account of creditors. And then the cash book keeps the cash account and the bank account. And the general ledger keeps all other accounts that cannot be kept in the other ledgers. And finally, the private ledger keeps the capital and drawings account. Okay, so I think last week we even went into some specific questions about. Now, today's focus is on where to post the entries in the sales daybook 2, where to post entries in the purchases daybook 2, and the other daybooks as well. So since our consideration was on the first four, let's quickly look at the first four daybooks and where to post their entries to. Okay, so I'm referring to the question we solved last week. That is what you have here. We prepared the sales daybook. So after preparing it, you have to post these entries into the ledger, and that is where you do the debits and credits. So, dear lady and gentlemen, in this daybook, you see names of persons, and these persons are the debtors. These are the debtors. So we are going to post these debtors to which ledger? And the answer is the sales ledger, because the sales ledger keeps account of debtors. Okay, so it means that the first thing you do when you are posting from the sales daybook to the sales ledger is to open the account of each debtor. So let me demonstrate that for us. So basically in your exercise book, this is all that you do. You write the heading sales ledger. Sales ledger. And in that sales ledger, what you are going to do is to open the account of each of the debtors. So we are going to open the account of M. Ayodeji, T. Awe, S. Akinotan, and N. Osifu. So when you bring your heading sales ledger, you open the account for the first debtor, which is M. Ayodeji. Okay, let's do that for T. Aware and the others. Then we'll come to put in the entry. T. Aware. Please, if you don't understand anything along the line, make sure to draw my attention. Let me increase my font size. Okay, so we can move to the next person, which is S. Akinota. Let me bring this table down a bit. So S. Akinotan. Okay, so we have S Akinotan's account opened. Then we go for N Osifu. N Osifu. So we are done with opening the account for each of the debtors. Now what you do is you pick the details for each of these debtors and record in their account in the sales ledger. So M Ayodeji, on the 15th, we sold to M Ayodeji. Okay, so for M Ayodeji, he's a debtor. So when you sell to debtors or customers, you debit them, right? When you sell goods to M Ayodeji, you debit M Ayodeji and you credit your sales account. So in M Ayodeji's account, we are going to show the date 1st May 2003. And the narration will be sales. Then you put the amount there, 3,000 Naira. I need to bring my currency. So very, very important. Let me create a space for the currency. So my Naira, top, my Naira, top. Good. So that is it. You debit the data. We move to the next transaction. That was to T Away. So you go to T Away's account. And you are also going to debit T Away. The date was on the same date as that of M Ayodeji, 1st May 2003. Narration will be sales, 4,300. We do same for S Akinotan. Please, any questions so far? Okay, no question. My students are observing what I'm doing, I guess. Okay, so we move to S Akinotan. So we are going to debit S Akinotan as well. We sold to S Akinotan on the 16th of May. Currency very important. 16th May 2003, sales. We sold to a tune of 5,700. Then the final person is N Osifu. N Osifu. It also occurred on the 16th of May 2003. Sales 4,700. So you would appreciate that we have posted for each data into the sales ledger, So all these accounts fall under the sales ledger because they are account of debtors. Now, when you are done with the individual entries, what is left is the total. And you all agreed that this total represents credit sales that is supposed to be transferred into the sales account in the general ledger. So what it simply means is that we need another ledger called the general ledger. So let me open that account or that ledger. Okay, so let me have the title General Ledger. So under the general ledger, we'll now open the sales account. So let me open the sales account here. Good. Now, what are we going to do to this account? We need to credit it, because anytime you sell goods, you credit it. What date are we using? We'll use the closing date, as that is what is attached to the total. So 31st March 2003. The narration we are going to put there will be debtors, right? Because you sell on credit to your debtors, 17,700. So in terms of making you appreciate what I've just done, we made entries in our sales daybook. And the sales daybook, as we all know, records only credit sales. And whenever a business sells to or sells on credit to customers, these customers become debtors. So in this scenario, we sold goods on credit to these persons. So all these people are debtors. So we are saying that after preparing this daybook, you have to post to the ledgers. What ledger are you posting to? The sales ledger. Coincidentally, the names seems to have similar terms. So sales daybook, you post the entries to the sales ledger. The entries for each of the debtors. When you are done, the totals would also be transferred to an account called the sales account in the general ledger. So that is what I've basically done. Let me pause for any question or reaction. Prof. Alexia, are you okay? Prof. Frank and Prof. Richmond, are you okay with the explanation so far?
Yes, sir. No, sir. Sir, please, I'm a bit confused.
Okay, so where are you confused so that I look at it again?
Sir, please go back to the general ledger, the sales account.
Okay. So let me do it this way. If we're doing our normal debits and credits using the T account earlier, anytime you sell goods to somebody, so let me take the transactions one by one. We sold goods on credit to M. Ayodeji. So earlier you would have opened sales account and M. Ayodeji's account. You credit sales and you debit M. Ayodeji, right? Same for T Away. You credit sales and debit T Away. You would credit sales and debit S. Akinota. And finally, you credit sales and debit N. Osifo. So if you appreciate, the debit in this individual account is what we have done here. So you see, when you sell to M. Ayodeji, you debit M. Ayodeji. You debit T Away. Yeah, Richmond. Let me. Richmond, okay, go ahead with your question.
Sir, it doesn't mean that all the sales daybooks we are going to debit or the debit.
Yes, all the entries in the sales daybook. If you pick each entry for each data, you debit the data, because when you sell goods to somebody, you debit the person, right? And you credit your sales account. So we have debited these customers who are debtors. Now, earlier, the corresponding entries would have been in the sales account like this. When you open your sales account, you would have credited 1st May, M. Ayodeji, another 1st May, T. Away. You would have brought the individual debtors account here, right? But in this case, we are saying that because you have prepared your sales daybook, when you post the individual transactions for the debtors, the total is what you pick to your sales account. Let me do a simulated sales account. Maybe that will make you appreciate it better. So under normal circumstance, if you have this your sales account, you have 1st May 2003 Ayodeji. Then you put the amount there, 3,000. Then you come to another credit on 1st May 2003. That will be T away, 4,300. Then you do same for S Akinota, 16th May 2003. I'm just doing this for you to understand something. S Akinota, 5,700. Then finally, you would have another 16th May 2003 and Usif, 4,700. So if you appreciate, in the earlier transactions you were recorded, see, you debit the customer, okay? So you debit M Ayodeji, then you credit your sales account, right? You do same for T away in that order. But here, because you are preparing your day book, in the sales account, you are not supposed to show these individual entries. You just pick the totals. You pick the totals and put it in the sales account, representing your total credit sales to your debtors. So I'm repeating myself again. For the individual debtors, post them to the sales ledger. Open account for each debtor and debit him or her. When you are done, open your general ledger and pick the total into the sales account in the general ledger. Okay, so Richmond, you still have a question? Go ahead. Prof. Frank, are you okay now?
Please, yes, sir.
Okay. So in the general ledger for the sales account, you only pick the total. It is in the sales ledger, or sometimes we call it the debtors ledger, that you open the account for each person. Okay. So that is for the sales day. That's how you do the postings in the sales day book. The next one is the purchase day book. Purchase day book. So let's do some kind of logical reasoning here. If the entries in the sales ledger went into the entries in the sales day book went into the sales ledger, then entries in the purchase day book would also go into which ledger? The purchases ledger. So again, you have to create another ledger and call it the purchases ledger. So let me do that here. Purchases ledger. So in that purchases ledger, you are going to open a separate account, this time for each creditor. Okay, so Y Ajun Mobi, Kyo Samson, Ibada, and Enakin. You open account for all these creditors or suppliers. Okay, so let's do that. We have Y Ajun Mobi. I think we can put in the entry so that we don't have to be coming back. So when you open the account for the creditor, this time you credit them, because when you purchase goods from a creditor or a supplier, you credit that person and you debit your purchases account. And bought goods from Y Ajun Mobi or purchase goods from Y Ajun Mobi. You open purchase account, debit it, and you credit Ajun Mobi. So we are going to credit on the 3rd of May 2003. This time the narration will be purchases. and the amount is 4,000. So we go to the next one, which is Kill Samson. So we open Kill Samson's account and we credit Kill Samson 3rd May 2003. Purchases 650. Then we go to Ibadah. Ibadah. So Ibadah 2, we are going to credit on the 10th of May 2003. Purchases 3,400. Then finally N Akin. Okay, I think I need an extra account. I'll copy this one. Okay, so we can put the account of N Akin here. So N Akin would also be credited, but this time with the dates which happened on 20th, and the amount is 500. Okay, so you also appreciate that in the purchases daybook, you post the individual creditors account into the purchases ledger. Okay, so you just have your title purchase ledger and you open the account for each creditor and you credit them. See, you have to draw some links. The person is a creditor, so you are going to credit him or her, right? When you are done, it's left with the total. So this total will go to the purchases account. In which ledger? The general ledger. So since you already have your general ledger, go under your general ledger. Okay, so we have our general ledger here with the sales account already there. So we also add the purchases account. So purchases account. And this time we are going to debit purchases because when we purchase goods, we debit it. We are going to use what date? The closing date, 31st May 2003. And the narration will be creditors. You put the figure 8,500. Please, are we okay? So it's very simple. Post the individual's account into the purchases ledger and post the total into the purchase account in the general ledger. Okay, so I guess this first session is ending now. When we come, we'll move to the return inwards and return outwards and conclude on how to post from these 4 daybooks into the various ledgers. So see you in the next session. Unless there's a question, I'm ready to answer that before we move to the next session. Okay, I guess when we rejoin, your questions can follow. So see you in the next session.